Hey, my name is Beau, founder of perfectlyatpeace.com, and welcome to today's podcast. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about what I call the 7 laws of abundance. And these are what I consider to be what you might call laws of the universe. And if you live your life in alignment with these laws, I believe that you will experience greater abundance and harmony in all areas of your life. And I only say that from a lot of personal experience. Many years ago, I experienced a very deep, dark depression in my life, and I struggled with anxiety and depression and low self-esteem and things like that for many, many years. And it led me on a quest, on a search for answers, on a search for solutions of some kind that could put my anxiety to rest and help me achieve the things that I wanted in life, the freedom that I wanted, the abundance that I wanted, the love and happiness. The things that all of us want. And the way that I started my journey was by studying other successful people. I looked around and I read books and, watched videos and did searches, and I was trying to find people that were not only successful financially, but people that were also very happy, that were very confident, people that seemed that way to me. So people that had what you might call the best of both worlds. People who were financially well off, people who were confident, people who were leaders, and people who seemed genuinely at peace in their lives. And what I did was sort of reverse engineer these people's lives and try to figure out what were the common characteristics or personality traits that allowed these people to achieve the success that they did. And so I just kind of tried to boil everything down and figure out what kind of rules or principles do these people live by? What is it within themselves, within their own minds, that makes these people successful and other people, not successful? So what is the difference between the super successful or the super happy and the people that aren't very successful or aren't very happy? And I found out that it's really all about your perspective. It's all about these people's perspective or their attitude or the way that they think. And so I've boiled it down into 7 things that I believe are essential, and we're going to cover them today. So we're going to dive right into it and start with number 1, which is what I call the law of mirrors. When you look into a mirror, what does it show you? It shows you exactly what you put in front of that mirror. It shows you yourself, right? And what I've found is that all successful people and all happy people generally take a lot of responsibility for what they are creating in their lives. In other words, very successful and happy people, they don't blame people or circumstances for why their life is the way it is. They don't blame other people or events or circumstances for why they feel a certain way. They take responsibility for what they feel and what they think, and they focus on changing the inside first. And what they find when they do that is that when they change their attitude and when they change their feeling, the appearance of the world starts to change, just like a mirror. If you change the object in front of the mirror reflects back something different, right? And I've found in my life that life is the exact same way. If you go into life with a bad attitude or a negative judgment of some kind or just a negative feeling, then what your mind will find is more evidence to support and justify that feeling. So if you are angry, you're going to find a lot of things in the world to be angry about. But if you go into life with an attitude of gratitude, you're going to find a lot of things to be grateful for. So whatever feeling or attitude you hold within yourself is what you will find in the world around you. And it's important to see that it's the inside that is making the outside appear the way it is. So it's not that the world is a fearful place. It's just that you have fearful beliefs or thoughts that you're holding within your mind or your body. That's making life appear like a fearful place or a dangerous place or whatever. And if you change your perspective, everything changes. I think there's a quote from Wayne Dyer that says, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And I found that to be so true in my life because many years ago, I used to suffer with very severe anxiety and depression and low self-esteem. And because of these feelings that I was having within myself and these attitudes I had towards myself, this self-hate and things like that, because of that, everywhere I looked around me, I thought that people were judging me. I thought people didn't like me. I thought I wasn't good enough. I thought that success was for other people, but it wasn't for me, that there was something wrong with me, that I needed to fix myself. I had all these beliefs, and everywhere I looked around me, I found evidence for why I should believe those things. And the world fed back to me exactly what I believed about myself. But when I really started taking responsibility and I stopped blaming people and things for why I was the way I was, and when I realized the power of my own mind to change things, everything started shifting in my life. Because I started taking responsibility for my thoughts and feelings and saying, no, I'm not going to give my power to something external. I'm going to choose to change this thought or change this belief. I'm going to just be willing to see things differently. I'm going to be willing to maybe let go of a certain resentment I have or a certain judgment about someone else or about myself I'm going to let go of these feelings and these thoughts that don't serve me, and I'm going to see what happens. And what do you know? When I started letting go of the negativity, replacing it with a more positive perspective on things, my life started to change. I was able to overcome my severe anxiety and my depression. Those things lifted. I started to feel confident about myself, confident enough to where I started my very first successful business. Everything in my life started changing when I changed my mind, when I took responsibility for what I saw in the mirror of life rather than blaming the mirror. It would be pretty silly to look in a mirror and to blame the mirror for reflecting back the wrong image. The mirror just reflects what you put in front of it. It doesn't discern. It just reflects back what you give to it. So life is that exact same way. And this is one of the first keys to creating what you want in your life, is to stop giving your power away and to start realizing that life is your mirror and that whatever you bring to life is what life will give back to you. You can't wait for the outside world to change because the outside world can't reflect back to you something different unless you yourself become someone different. So when you change, what you see in the mirror of life also changes. So this is a very important first step, is to look within yourself rather than outside of yourself. So let's go on to number 2, and this is what I call the law of seasons. Naturally, we all want good things to come into our lives, but I find that most people aren't willing to pay the price, or they're just not patient enough, and they're a little too greedy, you might say. It's this outcome focus, this obsessive focus on outcomes and results rather than on the process. So think of a farmer. When a farmer is planting seeds in the ground in the springtime, is he obsessively worried about the results of that harvest? Is he wanting the harvest to come in May or June instead of September? I mean, maybe he wants that, but is it realistic to desire that? No, the farmer knows that if he plants the seeds, that in time, if he plants those seeds and he takes care of them and he nurtures them and he waters them and he makes sure they're cared for, he knows that the earth and the sun and everything else, nature, will come together and it will produce the harvest for him in time. So the farmer doesn't need to be anxious about the results of what he does. He just lays the groundwork, he plants the seeds, he cares for them, he does what he can, whatever is in his power to do, and then he lets the harvest come on its own. So the farmer is focused more on the process than the results, because the results come on their own. Life does the rest of the work for you. What I found in my life is that the most success comes to me when I'm focused on enjoying the process of planting these seeds, whatever that may be, whether it just be like taking small steps towards greater health, or taking small steps towards growing my business and things like that. When I do that, then I not only get better results because I'm focused on taking action and not procrastinating. Not only that, but I'm much happier because I'm not thinking so far ahead into the future. I'm just enjoying the process. And when you can learn to enjoy the process of creating things in your life, then you find that success is effortless. So the key is to be willing to go through the process, be willing to put in the work, to lay the foundation, to plant the seeds, to take care of them, and to do all of this without any guarantee of a reward anytime soon. All the successful people that I know, they were always willing to do what was required, even though they didn't get an immediate payout. They were willing to delay gratification and put their success off for the future. And the reason that they were able to do that is not just because they knew it in principle that that was what they needed to do, but it's because they enjoyed the process of planting the seeds, of nurturing these things and caring for them. They found something that brought them joy, and they focused their energy on just doing that. And they focused on something that not only brought them joy, but something that could bring others joy, something that not only improved their lives and made them happy, but something that could be of value to others as well. So we're going to talk more about that in just a minute, but I'm going to move on to number 3 now, which is the law of right intention. A lot of people will say that the secret to success is to just take action, to just do something, to just move forward and to not think too much, not procrastinate, and just do it, just do the damn thing. And that's not horrible advice, but I find that this completely fails to take into account an important factor in everyone's success, and that is the power of intention. I see a lot of people who take seemingly the right actions and they're doing the right things, but they're not getting the results that they want. And then they get frustrated and they wonder why that one person can do something and get a great result, and another person can do the same type of thing and take the same actions and get a completely different result or get very little results at all. And what I think it is I think it's the power of intention. The intention behind the action is actually more important than the action itself. So for example, someone who strives for success in life out of a need for revenge is going to get very different results than someone who strives for success out of love, right? Because one person is coming with a negative intention, and that's going to taint all of their actions, and it's going to make all of their actions less effective. Because when you're doing something with a negative intention, people can sense that, people can feel that. But when you're coming from a place of authenticity and love, people can sense that as well. And so people will react very differently to these two different people who are taking the same actions, but doing it from a different place within themselves. So your intention is what determines not only your success, but it determines how happy you will be in the process of achieving that success. And it will determine how sustainable your success is. Because if you're not enjoying the process, if you're doing what you're doing just because you want to prove someone wrong, or you want to show someone that you're right, or you want to prove your worth to the world and you want to be admired by other people, if you're doing it for those reasons, you're going to burn out and you're not going to find joy in the process, and so you're not going to be able to sustain your success. If you even achieve that success in what you aimed for, if you even achieve it in the first place, if you even achieve it at all, when you do achieve it, you're going to lose it very quickly because you're not going to be able to maintain and keep doing the things you need to do to grow that success or to maintain it at the same level. Because you can't do something with a negative intention, a negative energy for extended periods of time, because it's just too stressful, and you will burn out. But if you're doing it from a place of love and you genuinely enjoy the process, then you're going to be able to sustain your success as long as you need to, because you're enjoying it. You're not doing it from a place of need, or you're not trying to prove anything. You're just doing what you enjoy, and that's that. And I'm sure you've heard the saying to do what you love. And that's one of the keys to success, is finding something that you love. And I would say, if you can't find something that you love right now, maybe you're not sure what your real passion is or what your purpose is. If you can't, that's okay, because you can at least find a way to love what you do. Bring love to what you're already doing. Even if that's not necessarily your passion in life, bring a different energy to the work that you're doing, and you'll find that things start to shift. And this is exactly what happened with me in one of my old jobs. I had a job. I was working in a metal factory, and I didn't like this job. I wanted to quit. Every day I thought about how much I hated my job. I wake up with a feeling of dread every day, knowing that I had to go to this job that I hated. But one day I decided, you know what? I'm going to be at this job for a while probably, so there's no point in me hating it anymore. I might as well just try to enjoy it. And I completely shifted my attitude, and I started to go to work with a smile on my face, and I started to just kind of fake it until I made it. I tried to just pretend that I enjoyed my job. And what do you know? When I started bringing that different attitude, that different energy to my job, I started to actually enjoy the job. And that doesn't mean that I was planning on staying at that job forever, but it just meant that I was able to just stop resisting it, and at least find some happiness. And I found a power within myself that was able to be happy even in situations that were less than ideal, maybe. And what happened very soon after that is I found a way to quit that job, start my own business, and things started to shift very quickly because I was coming to life with a different attitude. I wasn't resisting life. I was kind of just going more with the flow. And opportunities presented themselves to my awareness, and I started to become more productive, more happy. I've started to focus on serving other people rather than just thinking about my own needs and wants. And when you don't have the stress in your life that comes from resisting what you're doing, then you find that you're much more creative. You're able to be more productive. Your mind is open to new opportunities, and you can start to see opportunities that you never saw before. When you change your attitude and you change the way you're thinking and what energy you're bringing to life, it changes everything. And so if you're not doing what you love, just find a way to bring love to what you're already doing. And that will open up so many doorways for you, I promise you. But you have to have the faith, at least to begin. You might not think that loving it is going to change it, because maybe you've just been trying to resist it for so long. You've been resisting it, and you thought the key to changing it was to resist it or not accept it. But maybe if you try the opposite, the counterintuitive thing, which is to accept it and to love it, then maybe that's the answer. Because I see a lot of people in this world who are resisting what they're doing, and they're not getting results. They're not changing. Nothing is changing in their lives. So if everyone in the world is resisting doing the things that they don't want to do, maybe doing the opposite is the key that will free you and allow you to make a shift in your life. The world is your mirror. Remember that. Number 4 is the law of reciprocity. So a good intention is important, but a good intention might yield poor results if your intention is not combined with the right type of action. So what is the right type of action? Well, I like to think of it like this. Every day you should be thinking of how you can create win-win situations. So a lot of people, when they're trying to change their lives for the better, they're only thinking of themselves, right? They're thinking of, well, how can I get more of what I want? How can I become healthier? How can I become happier? How can I become more abundant in my life? That's a very selfish way of living, really. And I'm not saying that that's wrong, but I find that we need to have a balance of selfishness and selflessness in order to really prosper in life. Because the fastest way to prosper in life is to help other people prosper. If you can find a way to take what you're already doing to improve your life and use that same information, that same knowledge that you're acquiring, and use that to help other people improve their life at the same time as you're improving yours, if you can do that, then not only is your life going to get better, but you're going to help other people. And because you're giving, the universe always finds a way to give back to you. And that can be in many different forms, but often it's in the form of money and wealth. If you look at all of the most successful people in the world, or at least most of them, at least 95% of them, the most financially wealthy people, all of them have found a way to provide a service to humanity, or to entertain people, or to bring value of some kind to people's lives. The most wealthy people are people that are producers. They are producers of value. They're not just sitting back and consuming information and consuming entertainment. They're the ones creating the entertainment. They're the ones creating the value. They're creating the products. They're creating the books. They're creating the movies. They're creating the television shows that most people sit back and passively consume. So successful people are creators. They're people who are creating some form of value and giving it to the world. And the law of the universe says, give and you shall receive, right? So a good intention is one part of it, but you also need to combine a good intention, a pure intention, with actions that serve not just yourself. Whenever possible, you should always be trying to find a way to make your knowledge, your skills, your experience, your actions, to make them serve more than just one person. So how can your actions benefit multiple people? How can your knowledge benefit multiple people? For example, instead of just exercising to get yourself in better physical shape, why not start an exercise class so that others can join you and you could all get in better physical shape together? And you could even charge a small amount of money for that class, so you could start to receive benefits immediately just by thinking a little bit outside the box and thinking about how you can take what you're already doing for yourself and using that to enhance the lives of others. Or instead of just reading a book to inspire yourself and give yourself positive ideas, why not share those positive ideas on your social media accounts, or make a video about it, or write an article about it and share it with others? You could literally build an entire business out of just sharing your ideas that you're getting from books and things that you would already do on your own, whether or not you were getting paid for it. And you can just start to naturally share that stuff and actually build an entire business out of just doing that. And that's very much like what I've done with this website, perfectlyatpeace.com. So anything that you're doing to improve your own life, remember that most likely it can be turned around and also used to improve other people's lives. And when you start thinking this way, thinking of more than just yourself, then magic starts to happen in your life, because one of the laws of the universe is give and you shall receive, serve and you shall prosper. So number 5 is the law of undoing. On my personal journey, I've found that success and happiness in life is a lot more about letting go of limitations than it is about acquiring anything new. For example, I used to think that I needed to gain more confidence. I needed to acquire more confidence in my life, and I thought that was the key to me being more successful. And I wasn't entirely wrong, but I was wrong about the process by which confidence is actually acquired. And I found that it's not acquired by gaining something new, but it's actually acquired by letting go of all the obstacles that are preventing that from being my experience. So it's not that confidence is this thing out there that you have to chase, or abundance or success is this thing that you have to chase. It's just that whatever is within you that is blocking that or preventing that, you just have to let go of the obstacle or block within yourself, and then that becomes your new experience. So confidence becomes your experience when you have let go of fear, for example. Or abundance becomes your experience of life when you have let go of lack or limiting beliefs within yourself. So it's not that you have to spend all your time chasing the things that you want in life. It's more so that you need to spend your time going within and removing the obstacles and limitations, such as limiting beliefs or negative emotions. Spend your time removing those, and then the confidence, the peace, the happiness, the prosperity, all of those things will start coming to you rather than you having to go chase them. I like to think of it like a hot air balloon. Think of a hot air balloon with these weights hanging below it. And these weights below this hot air balloon are keeping the hot air balloon at a certain level of elevation. It's preventing the hot air balloon from rising higher to higher levels or higher altitude. So our life is the same way, sort of. The hot air balloon represents our level of happiness or success, you might say. And the weights that are hanging below the hot air balloon represent our limiting beliefs and our negative emotions. So it's not that we have to force our hot air balloon to rise. We just have to let go of the weights that are preventing it from rising on its own. So I want you to start thinking of your life more in this way. Instead of chasing after the things that you want, start thinking of how you can let go of anything within yourself that might be preventing that experience from coming forth. And think of success more as an effortless thing, like you can float towards success rather than having to propel yourself towards success. And I want you to think of it in that way because I think a lot of people are stressing themselves out thinking that success is this difficult thing to achieve, and they're trying to use all this willpower, to achieve things. And willpower is not very effective, especially in the long term, because it can't be sustained. So you need an easier way to get the things you want. And the easy way is to focus on letting go and surrendering the obstacles rather than chasing after things. Or it's kind of like becoming a magnet. Instead of chasing things, you let things become attracted to you. And that's the way I've seen it work in my life. And all I can say is try it out. So the next one is number 6, the law of vibration. And this is basically what happens when you master the previous law, the law of undoing, what I just talked about. So when you start to release the inner negativity, the beliefs, the limiting beliefs or feelings of lack and limitation, when you start to let go of those things and you start to get out of your own way, then you find your vibrational frequency increases, or you can think of it very simply as your baseline emotional state increases. So when you surrender the negative emotions, the positive emotions occur all on their own. You don't have to force your way up the emotional scale to greater feelings. And if you know anything about the law of attraction, if you've studied it at all, then you might understand already that the key to manifesting new things in your life is to become someone new and experience a new vibration, or a new emotional state, or a new level of consciousness. As you increase your baseline emotional state, you will attract different things into your life, different people, different circumstances. You open your mind to new opportunities. Your behavior will change. As your internal state of consciousness changes, everything else changes. And you don't have to focus so much on the individual actions, because when you change your state of consciousness, the behavior will automatically shift and you'll start doing things differently. You'll bring a different energy to everything you do, and your behavior will automatically shift in a positive direction, which will automatically create better results in your life. So I think a lot of people are going about this whole thing backwards. When they're trying to create something new in their life, they're thinking that it's all about maybe their actions. They need to change their habits of action, but they're not seeing the deeper underlying cause. What is actually creating certain habits of behavior in the first place? Well, it's your state of consciousness. It's how you feel. It's your vibrational frequency, you might say. So you don't need to change the actions. You don't need to focus on changing the actions, because when you change the energy or the state of consciousness or the intention or the feeling behind the action, then the actions automatically shift in a positive direction. If you increase your feeling state, if you become a happier, more confident person, you will automatically create different types of behavior that leads you in a more positive direction that will automatically create more positive outcomes. So you always need to focus on the first cause. Most people are focusing on the outcome or the thing that they want in the future, and that brings anxiety and fear and things like that. And a lot of people are a little closer to the truth, and they're focused on the action steps that they need to take to get there. But to truly master yourself and your life, you need to go back to the first initial cause of everything else in your life, and that is your overall state of consciousness or your baseline emotional state. That is what is creating everything else. So if you want help in more detailed resources and tools to help you increase this level of consciousness or your baseline emotional state, which will then change everything else in your life, If you want more detailed training and tools, a lot of very amazing tools to help you do this and help you master this process, then I would highly recommend you join Consciousness Ascension Academy. If you want to learn more about the Academy, you can just go to perfectlyatpeace.com/ascension. That's ASCENSION. So perfectlyatpeace.com/ascension. So we're going to move on to the last one now, and this is what I call the law of humility. There's a quote by Socrates that I really like, and he said, "All I know is that I know nothing at all." And I think this is the perfect attitude to go through all of life with. It's an attitude of humility. It's never assuming that we know the full truth about anything, and just always staying open-minded, staying open to different perspectives on life, and just being a student of life, looking at everything in life not as good or bad, but looking at it all as just an opportunity to learn. So when we have a closed mind, we tend to shut ourselves off to opportunities that could actually be great learning lessons. And we close our mind to possibilities, and we don't allow for expansion of our consciousness. And we just completely close ourselves off to certain realities and certain amazing experiences that could be possible for us if we just had a more open mind. So I want to just briefly discuss some of the qualities of an open mind. An open mind seeks to understand, not judge. An open mind is willing to hear perspectives and opinions that differ from its own, and seeks to learn from them rather than immediately dismissing them. An open mind sees so-called facts as opinions and truth as relative rather than absolute. An open mind seeks opportunities for expansion rather than making excuses for limitation. An open mind has the attitude of, "it seems that way," rather than, "it is that way." An open mind is flexible, not attached to anything, but not resistant to anything either. And because of all this, an open mind is peaceful and in harmony with life. Because it always seeks to expand and open itself even wider, it maximizes its opportunities for learning, growth, and success in all areas of life. So these are the 7 laws of abundance, and I hope you enjoyed learning about them today. That's all for today's episode. If you'd like to learn more, just head over to perfectlyatpeace.com, and you can learn more about the other things that I offer, the other training that I have, and feel free to get in touch with me personally. Send me your questions if you have any. If you have any questions you want me to answer in a future podcast episode, just reach out and let me know. So that's all for today, and I'll talk to you in the next one.